Will we have a new global reserve currency? The president of the Shanghai Gold Exchange is really hoping for it. But before we get into this one, please like the video. Please subscribe to help get this economic evangelism out there. We are going to be exploring one option that the Shanghai Gold Exchange president could be referring to. So let's just dig into a couple of his quotes from this article. We're not going to read everything. Here's one. Future global trade needs a super sovereign currency system under which no single country has the power to freeze the international assets of another country, Wang told Reuters in an interview. Let's go to another quote from him. It is a weapon, referring to the dollar, for the US, but a source of insecurity for other countries, Wang said. The currency the world ultimately chooses for global trade must not be one that gives someone privilege while exposing others to insecurity. Now let's go down to the bottom right here. Wang did not clarify how this new currency would look like or be used during the interview, but did indicate that it will be used in a post-pandemic world and distribute political power equally. Now I'm just going to stop right there. Many of us are probably, I know you guys are probably just like me. We probably think about what this world's going to look like after this whole issue ends. You know, how things are going to be looking as far as vaccines and all that kind of stuff. We probably are looking at a lot of this stuff. So as far as the monetary side is concerned, this is pretty interesting. He's saying that there could be something that comes after this that will essentially, wrap the global world in its hands. So let me just end with this quote from him. He says, "The global cloud of the United States will reduce, while the status of the European Union and China will rise in global affairs," he said. That's huge. Now, there are a couple of options here. Well, one main option that I see that could possibly be global, not just for a chosen few. Now, I've mentioned that Russia and China are probably working on a gold-backed cryptocurrency. There have been multiple articles about Russia working on this. But let's take a look at something that's already in place, that's already international, has already been used by the global economy. So you guys are probably starting to catch on here. We're talking about the IMF's special drawing right, also known as the SDR. So for those of you who don't know, I'm going to read what this is. The SDR is an international reserve asset created by the IMF in 1969 to supplement its member countries' official reserves. So far, special drawing rights of 204.2 billion, equivalent to about roughly 281 billion US, have been allocated to members, including 182.6 billion SDR allocated in 2009 in the wake of the global financial crisis. Now I'm going to stop right there. There are two things there. I don't know if you caught them. The first thing was how much an SDR is worth relative to a US dollar. It takes a little bit more US dollars to get an SDR. So what I'm going to do here actually is I'm going to do a little bit of some quick math here and see how many US dollars it takes to get a one SDR. So I just did it. I divided 281 into 204.2 essentially. And I got 1.376. It takes $1.376 to get one SDR. So already the SDR has a lot more strength than the US dollar. Now, what you'll probably find, which I'll read later to you, is that, well, we'll get into it later. I'm going to continue on with this after touching on the second thing that popped up. In the wake of the global financial crisis, already 182.6 billion was allocated. Now, in a previous video that I did, we talked about SDRs before, and you might have remembered me saying that Steve Mnuchin of the Treasury Department basically said, no, 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 no. We don't want any more special drawing rights. Well, why did he say that? Well, that's because the IMF was actually offering SDRs to everybody. In the U.S., it'd actually be one of the largest recipients. Steve Mnuchin basically said, hey, this is going to go to a bunch of countries in the G20 that don't really need it, and not to the countries that really, really need it. I think that might be a nice way to kind of explain it away, but I also think that Steve Mnuchin, as well as Trump, they're very much, America first type people. So likely they're thinking, nah, we're not going to let you start to slowly establish dominance here within this country. So you can keep your SDRs. We're going to try to fix this problem. Well, I don't know if anybody can really fix this problem, but hopefully we can fix this dollar problem. But yeah, just to say, there is another move being played out right now of trying to get SDRs into the hands of countries. Now, the value of the SDR is based on a basket of 5 currencies: the US dollar, the euro, the Chinese renminbi, the Japanese yen, and the British pound sterling. Now let's talk about the role of the SDR. Just quickly, it is a supplementary international reserve asset, supplementary, in the context of the Bretton Woods fixed exchange rate system. That's what the original purpose of it was. Then the Bretton Woods system collapsed. But that didn't mean that the SDR couldn't be allocated to provide liquidity and supplementing members' countries' official reserves, just like how it did in the global financial crisis. Now, here's the interesting thing. The SDR is neither a currency nor a claim on the IMF. You dig that? The SDR is not even a currency. Rather, it is a potential claim on the freely usable currencies of IMF members. SDRs can be exchanged for these currencies. Now, we can start throwing ideas around of what that could mean. Like, what is the end result of this, of what that could potentially be? A potential claim on the freely usable currencies of IMF members. Now, remember, the president of the Shanghai Gold Exchange said, after this whole thing, there's going to be something new happening internationally, and it's going to prop up the European Union and prop up China and diminish the US's role globally. And honestly, I think that the SDR could be that thing. Now, one of the reasons why I say this is because the SDR has a pretty clean balance sheet relative to countries. And check this out. The SDR was initially defined as an equivalent to 0.888671 grams of fine gold, which at the time was also equivalent to $1. So it was essentially paper gold at the time. And with its really pretty strong, decent balance sheet, it doesn't surprise me that the US dollar is essentially, you need 1.37 of them to get one SDR. So that's not good. That's not good as far as the strength of the dollar. But I'm curious to know what you guys think could potentially be this next global currency that is going to diminish the US and prop up the European Union and China. Could it be I don't think it would be, but let's just throw the option out there, a Russian-backed crypto Could it be an SDR? What else? What other options could there be? Let me know in the comment section below, and we'll discuss later on. But I really appreciate you guys for watching this video. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new. Please like the video to help those YouTube algorithms get this economic evangelism out there. Once again, thank you for watching. It's Black Bullion.